Hello and welcome back to another video on the JJ Think Tank. In this one I want to talk about the supposed special relationship between the UK and the US in the context of Peter Hitchens' book, The Abolition of Britain, and Devlin's song. Devlin, the rapper, the hip hop artist, the grime artist, Devlin. And I'd like to begin my video by playing his song, Shot Gritty. Shot Gritty. I won't play the whole song, boys, but I'll play maybe the first 20 seconds. Yay, Devlin! Oh!
One. They just can't stop what's destined to happen. I've got more talent than any of the rappers out of Manhattan. If you say I haven't, then it's visually apparent that your scale's unbalanced. And if you don't want to replicate this into me, I'll take your name through the abattoir. Who's an atrocity? The game's getting stuck like a robbery, invading your space like a squatter in your property. And now my name's up on the podium. The only emotion they're feeding is odium. The ultimate hatred that burns in the heart like petroleum. But I've got 'em coming back again, time after time, and the cats for the opium. Yeah, they hate, but my lyrics got a hold of them. Like Napoleon, taking control of them. Divide me from others, get left for the proteum. They never could have measured me in metric meters. Yeah, I'm dense, I'll be spitting real fire. Most MCs are fake like electric heaters. I'll be spreading my name like a horse spreads diseases. With an infected fetus that'll ruin your life.
Okay. So, I won't play the rest. But, I mean, Devlin references the USA, yes? Manhattan. He says that he's better than all the rappers. From Manhattan. And I think when we listen to his early stuff, I think he's right. He's better than all those fake rappers from Manhattan. Some of these rappers from America, they're fake, aren't they? They're not authentic. Whereas I think Devlin is. Devlin is an authentic human being. And personally, I don't think that this special relationship exists. I think this is a myth. I mean, obviously, the US and the UK, they share some aspects of culture. They share a language, obviously. There are some cultural ties, yes. But personally, I think the USA is destroying Britain. The USA is destroying the traditional side of Britain, I think, because England is a deeper country than the USA. I think the USA is more practical. It's more superficial. Its emphasis is on building wealth, on expanding its capitalist markets, etc. Whereas Britain, I guess Britain was like this before, but still, I think there's something deeper to Britain, yes, to England, and I'm of the view that yes, as I just said, this special relationship doesn't really exist. And I think England, the Britain, whatever we want to term, whatever term we want to use. We've got the UK as well. There's the United Kingdom, Britain, England. This country, Britain, needs to change its strategy, I think, and it needs to divorce itself from the USA to a degree, yes, and perhaps create its own mini empire again around its shores. So, can take into account the North Sea, the English Channel, yes. It has to come to an agreement with France in order to control this channel. Parts of the Irish Sea, I guess, the Welsh Sea, if there is one. Well, not really. It's the Atlantic Ocean, isn't it? And I think this will be a good course of action for the UK. Also, in the cultural sense, I think England needs to divorce itself from American culture. England, Britain, yes. These countries, they need to divorce themselves from American culture to a degree, yes. I mean, I like some aspects of American culture, obviously, but there's a lot of degeneracy. America spreads a lot of degeneracy, which has a bad effect on the mind, and I guess we can see the fruits of this now. A lot of degeneracy in general in society and culture, and I guess a cultural solution for Britain would be a return to the Victorian era. So of course there were some bad aspects to the Victorian era. Look, I'm not an expert on British history, but to my knowledge, the Victorian era, it was an era when Britain expanded a lot, right? Britain grew powerful, I think, from what I remember. The middle class expanded. The middle class had a greater say on matters. Obviously, there was some poverty. There was some inequality because the empire was expanding, and this created structural inequalities. But I think the Victorian era was a great era in the cultural sense. It was a very moral era. A lot of morality was at play. It was a moral time, ethical time. People were restrained. They didn't fall into lust. They were noble. They were moral, etc. Yes, and I think this was a beautiful time in Britain. Yes, I think in many respects. So yes, I'd like to go into my article now. See, I wrote this over 2 years ago, so I don't really remember what I wrote here, to be honest. I read this book by Peter Hitchens. Here it is, The Abolition of Britain. From Lady Chatterley to Tony Blair, the evil man, Tony Blair. Peter Hitchens is an opponent of everything New Labour stands for. A trenchant columnist and a controversial broadcaster, he has now set out a full-length indictment of modern Britain and asks who stole our country and how can we get it back. Yes, Mr. Peter Hitchens, he is a very wise man, much wiser than his foolish brother, Christopher. And let's see what Mr. Peter Hitchens had to say, yes? So, this is one quote that I included. Is there any point in public debate in a society where hardly anyone has been taught how to think, while millions have been taught what to think? That's a great quote. What to think, not how to think. The problem of utopia is that it can only be approached across a sea of blood and you never arrive. So I've referenced this quote a few times already in my previous videos. It's a great quote. It's why utopia is utopia is not possible, I think, on this planet. It's not possible. It's not. I mean, things can get better, but there's always a risk. There's always a risk of chaos around the corner, yes? Chaos is always lurking around the corner, and that's why we need to be realistic and pragmatic, yes? We can't expect to create this utopia on Earth here. Come on. So yes, well, I've changed my mind, yes? I don't agree with David Icke anymore. I think he's a new age Gnostic sophist. So when it comes to Britain, I like to listen to Peter Hitchens. I think he's got the most accurate picture. He knows what Britain is. He knows what England is. He's intelligent. He's wise. He's of this older generation. You know, he was born in the 50s, I believe, just after the Second World War. So he's seen the whole process of change. Yes, that took place in England and Britain. He experienced it, so he's got definitely a lot of interesting insights. Like any thinker, yes. I mean, I also have my blind spots and biases. Yes, we all do. Yes, he also has his regarding some aspects of Britain and her history. Obviously, he probably overall views the British Empire as being a force for good. He perhaps ignores the evil parts, the evil aspects that the British Empire caused, yes. But still, we want England, we want Britain to be a healthy country, right? I mean, ultimately, we want every country to be healthy on this planet, as healthy as possible. Because when all societies around the world, when all the countries around the world are relatively functional, they're healthy, it brings more harmony for everyone. Yes, there's the threat of war is reduced. So it's sad to see what's happening to Britain. To be honest, I mean, Britain and England, they are part of my identity, definitely. I feel Polish. I feel British, English. I don't know what term to use, to be honest. I mean, English is my first language, really. All things considered. Paradoxically, maybe I've used Polish more throughout my life. In terms of speaking, yes, perhaps. But English is my first language, and yeah, so it's sad to kind of it's sad to observe what's going on. But I think things personally, I'm as I'm getting older, I'm actually becoming more of an optimist. Around 10 years ago, I was drowning in this world of conspiracy, conspiracy theories, and I was very negative. I had a very pessimistic outlook on the world. But as I get older, as I start to heal, uh, I notice that perhaps things are not so bad as we think they are. Yes, I mean, okay. When it comes to Britain, there is this problem with multiculturalism. I agree. There is. We can't deny this. But the debate is already taking place online. People are talking about it. This is a good sign, yes, because a lot of conflict can be resolved via talking, via debating. Yes, so that's one good sign. Another good sign is like for British people, for English people, is the rise of Reform, Rupert Lowe and Rupert Lowe's Restore Britain. So these two parties, I think, are a good will be a good force for Britain. I think overall. I mean, I prefer Rupert Lowe. Nigel Farage, he's a bit of a snake. I don't trust him. He's a fox. He spreads a lot of lies about Poland. I noticed. I don't know. I just don't like. I don't like him, to be honest. I mean, no, I don't like him. I mean, he's funny actually. I don't know, he's funny, Farage, but he's like a fox, isn't he? He's a typical politician. He's always changing his mind, etc. He doesn't have. He doesn't have. He doesn't have, I guess, a set ideology. He doesn't have an idealistic vision of the world, perhaps. And so he constantly changes his mind. He changes his positions. Yes. So, I mean, I guess I respect Farage for what he did when it comes to Brexit. Yes. I mean, I think overall this was possibly a good move for Britain. Leaving the European Union. Personally, I want Poland to leave the European Union. I mean, Poland needs to leave the European Union, I think. If things continue in the EU like they are now, then Poland needs to leave, because the EU is becoming more and more totalitarian and bureaucratic. All these Green Deal, all this stuff, this nonsense about climate change, etc., carbon credits, all this crap. I mean, this isn't good. So anyway, yes, going back to Britain, yes. So yes, Brexit. That was a good. I think personally that was a good move on the chessboard for Britain. I think. I mean, ultimately, Britain has to come to some form of an arrangement with the EU. I don't know how, in what shape this will, in what form this will take place. What kind of arrangement there will be, I don't know. I mean, Peter Hitchens, he talks about the Nordic model, the Nordic option. So, for example, Norway is part of the economic area, the European economic area, but it's not part of the EU. So, and this is a key distinction to make, because if you're part of the the European Economic Area, you can still trade. I think you can still trade with the EU, etc. But you don't have to accept all of these, many of these ridiculous laws. Yes, I mean that's what I've heard. This is my interpretation. Maybe I'm wrong, but yes. Anyway, so now I'd like to go back to the book, Abolition of Britain, and talk about what I found in the book. Yes, so the book covers the period from 1960 to 1997, and in 1997, obviously, New Labour won. New Labour won the general election, and this was the beginning of a massive change in Britain. I believe immigration started to go up rapidly. First from European countries, Eastern European countries, Poland, etc., Romania, and then immigration from quote unquote third world countries. Yes, India, Africa, Islamic countries. Yes. So yes, but this is one source of the problem. Yes. Tony Blair, I think he went too far. He went too far with this immigration. I think he went too far with this immigration. He changed British society too quickly, and now there are these problems. Yes, in Britain. But this isn't the only thing that Hitchens mentions. So Hitchens also mentions the development of various cultural phenomena, such as the rise in the birth control pill. Definitely a negative process, because women they no longer treat having a relationship with the opposite sex in a serious manner. They don't treat it as something serious. Yes. Normalization of prawn. Yes. So this is bad. Television as well. If people watch too much TV, this is bad as well. Grammar schools, more and more grammar schools are being closed down, and grammar schools offer the chance for underprivileged children to get a great education. Yes, because grammar schools, they're based on an entry exam, and in order to pass the entry exam, you have to have a certain level of intelligence. Yes. The Thatcher era, again, another bad process, because it deindustrialized Britain. Multiculturalism as well is a problem. Changes in divorce law, so it's easier to get a divorce, and more single mothers. Drug culture, more and more people using drugs. I mean, here I agree and I disagree. I think when you undergo mental health issues and trauma, I think certain drugs can actually help you. They can give you that artificial boost when you need it, but then I agree with Peter that you need to cut them off, man. Like they just, in the end, if you use them too much, you start to become divorced from reality. And finally, probably the most important thing, right? The most important process: the erosion of the power of the church. Definitely, the Christian church, the church in Britain, has lost its power, and this is a cultural revolution, isn't it? Really. Via the strategy of Gramsci, Italian guy. The Italians have slyly taken over the UK. Oh, no, I'm joking, but he was an Italian, yes, communist or whatever. But yes, I mean, these trends are general. I mean, they're happening across the West. These processes are happening in Poland as well, in other European countries. It's not just Britain, yes. But I'm analysing Britain because I grew up there, yes. So I experienced this in a first-hand manner, yes. I experienced it firsthand, yes. And then this was a really interesting thought by Hitchens. So I don't know much about constitutional change, all this stuff. I don't know what this is about, really. Law, I don't know much about law. These topics have never really interested me. Law, constitutions, etc., and how they impact society. I've never really been interested in this. But this is what Hitchens had to say, and he believes a radical constitutional change in the form of the abolition of hereditary peers had a negative effect. Yes. His discussion of the hereditary peers was something completely novel to me. Exactly. So I remember when I wrote this. This was a completely new idea, a new thought that I never came across before in other thinkers. Yes. So this is what Hitchens had to say. Yes. So the old barons, viscounts, and earls owed the current government absolutely nothing. This is key. You see. So when the government doesn't control you, you are free. You are free to impose your will on your country and your society in order to save England. Make England great again. I think England is on the cusp of a revolution soon, I believe. I think it's long overdue, I think. England hasn't had a revolution since what? The Glorious Revolution, or William of Orange, I believe, yes? So, the old barons, viscounts and earls owed the current government absolutely nothing. It had no hold over them at all. It couldn't push them around or blackmail them, as it undoubtedly pushes, twists and blackmails elected members. When I worked in the Palace of Westminster before the Blair Revolution, it was always doubly refreshing to take a wander into the Lords. Oh, Peter Hitchens. It wasn't just that the noble end of the building had not been bombed and rebuilt on the cheap. So it was far more ornate and majestic than the elected part. It was that the debates, if you spent time listening to them, were so much more informed and civil, with experience and wisdom much in evidence. There were more old people. There were more people who had fought in wars or done the real things. Wow, what a quote that is! I mean, you can't disagree here with Hitchens, right? This kind of links to my previous idea that politicians, the only people who should become politicians are those who have experienced bad things. Yes, war, the dangers of life, because then they know that. They don't play with fire, we could say. Yes, they don't treat other people's lives with disrespect, right? This is kind of my view, and this is why there should be a new system in place where there are checks and balances against which politicians are elected. Evil politicians should not be allowed into office. They need to be blocked. So yes, before I finish, let's see what else I wrote down here. Yeah, so after 1997, it's only gone worse, hasn't it? It's only gotten worse in England and Britain. More and more immigration, and it's unfair. It's unfair on the natives, right? It's unfair on British people because it's their homeland. And yes, on the one hand, I agree that they did colonise most of the world, but by and large, they have withdrawn now. The English have withdrawn. The British have withdrawn their colonies. And they don't really have another place that is called home, yes? It's their homeland. So they have a right to a collective identity, just like every other ethnicity has a right to a collective identity. So do the British, So I respect this, and I agree with Peter Hitchens. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. This was my point. So a key problem with England, with Britain is the concentration of wealth in London. This is a problem. I mean, investment needs to start taking place in the north again and in other cities, yes, and the countryside and areas outside of London, and even in general London itself. It should be more accessible, yes. The property prices shouldn't be so ridiculous. I mean, This is why I left London. This is why I left England, because I'm gonna slave away just to pay a mortgage and just to have a bloody little roof over my head. Pay so much money for a bloody little house. Like, come on, I'm not doing that. I'm not wasting my life for that. No way. That's why I left. And London as well is becoming more dangerous. Rising crime, rape, people raping each other, like crime, knife crime. It's not the place to be, in my opinion. Might change, but yes, yeah. I know I won't go back there anyway. So, and yes, it's clear that, like in other countries, the main two parties, they're just two sides of the same coin. On TV, they pretend to be against each other, but when the TV is off, they're colluding with each other. Definitely. It reminds me of these memes. Yes, so sometimes you can find these memes where there's a gate, and on both sides of the gate there is a dog, and the dogs, they hate each other. Yes, when the gate is blocking them off, but as soon as the gate opens, these two dogs, they start to love each other. This is Labour and the Conservatives. They're two sides of the bloody same coin, aren't they? So, I mean, political correctness as well. It's gone mad, hasn't it? We should be allowed to have banter with other people. We should be allowed to have banter with other ethnicities, like make fun of them in a funny, in a good-hearted way. Yes. What else? Bureaucratic power of the state as well, going up and up and up and up and up and up. And then lockdowns and all these vaccines. I mean, they're another bad process, I think. Censorship as well. They're trying to, censorship is on the rise. But yes, I mean, every action has an opposite reaction. So that's why I am an optimist. I mean, ultimately, good wins. I think evil loses, good wins, but we just have to be patient. Yes, in general, those who notice, these negative trends, those who can see what's going on, we just need to be patient. Yes. So anyway, that's the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it interesting. Comment if you agree or disagree with my statement that there is no such thing as the special relationship. I don't think there is. There isn't a special relationship between the US and the UK. I think this is a myth. Overall, it's a myth. They share some cultural aspects. They have a shared culture, but that's it, really. Once again, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. You could have spent your time elsewhere, but you decided to spend it here on the JJ Think Tank. So I really appreciate that. If you liked the video, consider liking and subscribing. If you're a new viewer, consider subscribing. It will help me grow the channel. But yes, that's the end for this one. Once again, thank you for listening and take care.